It's a very cryptic, brief passage in Parshas Vayishlach, which is very hard to understand. We're going to try to attempt what is happening over here. This is in Perek Lamed Beis. Starts from Pasuk Chaf Hey, and it goes for a few psukim in the middle of the Sheni Aliyah. V'yavasir Yaakov levado. We're just going to read the psukim first. You can open a chumash if you want. V'yavasir Yaakov levado. Yaakov, he remained by himself. V'yavik ish imo ad alos hashachar. And there was an ish, a person, a man, who got dusty with him. V'yavik is literally the shorish of that word. V'yavik is dust. He quarreled with him. He fought with him, as is explained. Ad alos hashachar, until the dawn, until the morning. What does this mean? Who is fighting with Yaakov? What's this fight about? What's this fight for? Why until dawn? Went the entire night, stopped. Where was the rest of Yaakov's entourage, crew? Okay. So it's after they crossed the river, he came back to get the pachim ketanim, the small jugs, with something that's insignificant, and he was attacked. And this person saw he couldn't overcome Yaakov, so he struck, he wounded him on his thigh, knee area. Pick of kaf Yericho Yaakov behavko imo veyomer shalchani ki ala shachar. This person who was fighting with Yaakov requested, please send me because the dawn has come. Again, you see dawn over here. Some significance of dawn. Veyomer lo shalchacha ki im berchatani. Right? So he said, well, I'm not going to send you until you give me a bracha. Right? So his Yaakov saying back, I'm not sending you. Veyomer alav mashmach. He said, what's your name? Really, he knew his name, but he asked anyways to start a conversation. It's explained. Vayomer, he said, my name's Yaakov. Vayomer lo Yaakov Yamer od shemecha kim Yisrael. He said, I'm not going to call you Yaakov anymore. I'll call you Yisrael. A higher name. Hisarisa imaloikim v'manoshim metucha. Vayishal Yaakov Vayomer. And yes, Yaakov, and he said, Vayishal Yaakov Vayomer Hagidin Ashmecha. He said, you tell me your name. Vayomer Lama Zetishal Lishmi. This person said back, why are you asking for my name? V'yavarecho Sosham. And then it seems like he gave a bracha unwillingly. Those are the psukim. What is this talking about? What's this quarrel about? What's this fight about? What exactly happened in this cryptic episode? So we open up the Bereshis Rabbah. The Bereshis Rabbah has different views as to what's going on, as well as there's a Gemara in Chulin and Daf Sadi Vav. There's a Shira Hashirim Rabbah. It's a major discussion exactly what happened and who this was. Okay. Rabbi Chunya Amar is the Bereshis Rabbah in Parsha Ayin Zayin. It's kedai to learn this entire parsha. I did. It was very interesting midrashim to try to discover and figure out what's happening over here. But anyways, Rabbi Chunya Amar Nedamaloi b'demus raya. This actually was not a person. Even though the pasuk says it was an ish, it was a person. This was not a person. Excuse me. According to Rabbi Chunya, this was an angel that appeared. The Sar Shal Esav, the Malach Shal Esav, was an angel coming on Esav's behalf, and appeared disguised as a shepherd. Medrash continues. Nedamalo b'demus roya lazeson lazeson. They said, seems like he had cattle also, which is a fascinating concept that an angel, which is something that is spiritual, is able to have physical impacts in this world to the extent to injure someone. Lazeson lazeson. And this angel that appeared as a shepherd had cattle, just like Yaakov had. And they both had camels. Amar lo, he said, he had a whole plan. He said, I'll help you cross whatever, whole cheshbon. It was an angel. It was an angel. So, appearing as a shepherd, helped cross over. The angel said, The angel said, bring across your cattle. I'm going to bring across mine afterwards. And that's what they did. And then Yaakov brought up what was his, and then he said, Nachzor v'nechmi dilma anshinan klum. He said, let's go to the other side. Maybe we forgot something on the other side. Maybe we forgot something. So when that happened, the angel, the Medrash says, accused Yaakov of stealing his flocks. And therefore he wrestled with him, this angel. Medrash continues and says that there's a story between Rabbi Chia, Rabban, and Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe. Nosvin v'Yehovin beprat gimitia behodin me tachsa. That they were doing business, something involving silk. And they went to a place and they did their business. And then, Minaf could mean Pili Amri, and they were leaving the city gates, they said to each other, let's follow what our forefather did, aka Yaakov. Let's return, let's see if we forgot anything. So what happened? Chazrun vishtachun mechaylo de tachsen. They returned and they found a bundle of silk that they accidentally left behind. Amrin Lahon, the people of the town told these rabbis, Min ha islchaim. From where did you learn this? To go back, double check something, even though you don't think that you lost something. They said we learned it from Yaakov, the Yavasa Yaakov of Adam. We learned it from Yaakov. So the Eitz Yosef, as well as the Matnos Kahuna, explain, they offer the same explanation over here. Where'd you get this wisdom? To return, even though where'd you learn this practice from, to return even though you didn't forget anything at all? They answered from Yaakov. Matnas Kuna says that same exact idea. Those are what Varshim say. So the Derech Shel Ish is quoted over here, as well as the Midrash Chachamim in the art scroll to this Medrash Rabbah in the footnote. And they say that if you carefully read this Medrash, you'll see something much deeper over here. We have to see, they went back to see if anything that had value was overlooked. Right? Let's go back. This isn't just apply to physical items. This is a important philosophy for life. It just happened to express itself in this particular instance in a mundane matter, something pertaining to something physical, checking for a forgotten article or articles. But this teaches us a profound and a much deeper lesson to learn from Yaakov Avinu. A lot of times people go through life and they're very confident in terms of behavior and interactions with other people that what they're doing is fine. We did the right thing. We said what we had to say. My dahava, what's done is done. The Medrash is teaching us that no, that there's a concept of revisiting our actions that we did, analyzing them, reviewing them carefully to see if there is some way that we could improve in. And with this is the path that we could learn from Yaakov. It's not enough to invest efforts always to do the right thing. We have to train ourselves to review and analyze our past as well, whether we made any mistakes. Could something be improved? Did we hurt someone inadvertently? And if mistakes were made, so then we have to face them and reassess and better them. Medrash continues and says, Rabbanan Amri, according to the rabbis, La'ar chi listim nidamalo. This person was an angel of Esav, yes, but he appeared to him as a head robber, the head of the robber. And the Medrash continues over here and discusses this. Then in Oz Gimel, Rabbi Chamib, Rabbi Chanina, that just says out, all right, Sarah Shal Esav Haya. This was the minister of Esav. So you have a three-way machloikis over here, exactly what's going on, who this person was, but it definitely wasn't a regular person. So why did this person, obviously, attack Yaakov, this angel? Why is there a machlokes appearing different ways? What are they agreeing with over here? What is going on over here? What's going on over here? The Gemara in Chulin, Sadi Aleph, also relates several opinions. Some say he appeared as a Talmud Chacham. What's the significance? Appearing in different forms and in different fashions. What can we learn from over here? And why specifically Yaakov was he attacking? Right? So we could understand why. So this is what we have to basically address. I know it's a long introduction, but this is what we have to address. So we could understand why Esav's angel was trying to destroy Yaakov. He was fighting not only Esav's twin brother, who got the brachas and the Yerusha, the inheritance, but he was fighting something much more than that, this angel. Yochanan Wasserman, in his Koybetz Ma'amarim, page Reish Nun Beis, explains that Yaakov was the end of the ladder of all the stages of the triple threat. Pasuk says, "Hachut hameshulash lo b'mehera yenatik." It's Pasuk in Koheles Perek Dalet, which means that there's a 3-ply cord; it can't be easily broken. We had Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So Yaakov is the end of this. And therefore, this angel of Esav realized that he's got to stop Yaakov now, because if I can't do it now, I'm never going to be able to do it, because this is the end of the Chut HaMashulash. I have to stop him now. It will be unbreakable in the future. So I have to fight right now. So the obvious question is, which Rabbi Chanan asks, why didn't he wage war against Avram? Started earlier, before it got to the tail end. Yes, people wait for the end to do everything, but still do it earlier. Now it's risky. Why would he wait so long? Something so evil. Why did he wait for Yaakov to come on the scene? Why didn't he try to attack Avram or Yitzchak earlier on? Break the cord before it's almost too late. So Rav Elchanan, he quotes the Yerushalmi in Chagiga Perek Aleph Halacha Zayin. Vitar Kadosh Baruch Hu Alavon Avodah Zarah Gilo Arayos V'Shichvos Damim V'Levitar Alavon Bittul Torah. The Yerushalmi says that Hashem overlooked the sins, the 3 cardinal sins: idolatry, Gilo Arayos, illicit relations, and murder, Shvichos Damim. However, Hashem didn't overlook the sin of Bittul Torah, people who don't learn Torah for no reason, people who neglect the Torah. Pasuk in Yirmiyah says, Perek Tes, Al Azvam Es Toirosi. They forsake my Torah. They left my Torah. Halo Osi Azvu V'Sorosi Shamru. Halavai Osi Azvu V'Sorosi Shamru. Hashem is saying, as if they left me, but they would have just kept my Torah. They would have learned more Torah. In other words, when a person doesn't have learned Torah, then there's more of a problem, even than doing every other sin. Obvious question is, what's the simple explanation of this? How is that so? So he explains the reason could be explained through a analogy when it comes to warfare. Even if one side is victorious over the other, nevertheless, the war isn't over. Because it's possible that one day this person will be victorious, and the next day his friend will be victorious. However, how do you know that the war is over? When you have to demilitarize, when you have to put all the weapons down. If you get all the weapons down, you know the war is over. And his friend has no weapons. The war is over, show's over. Because you can't wage war without weapons. We have a war ourselves. It's called the war against the Yetzer Hara. The Gemara says in Kedushin Daf Lamed, Barati Yitzhahara, Barati Lo Torah Tavlin. Hashem says, I created this evil inclination, this Yitzhahara, I created the antidote to it, the Torah. There's no other way to fight off the Yitzhahara. Shum Kli Zayin Acher Lo Yatzliach Neged Yitzhahara Aklim At Torah. The only weapon against the Yitzhahara is learning Torah. Like the Mesilas Yesharim discusses, he says. Therefore, once Klal Yisrael, once they're not learning Torah, so then they don't have their weapons. They have nothing to wage war with anymore. Mashenkin, conversely, if they're involved, if they're nichshalu, if they stumble with other sins, even the worst sins, nevertheless, there's still hope that through them learning Torah, they could repent and they could do tshuva. That's what the Yerushalmi and Chagiga Parak Alf Lachazayin means when it says Sha'ma'ur Shaba Machlir Lamutab. The light will bring them back to good. The Torah could help them. Right? And the pasuk in Yirmiyah said, why was the land destroyed, left desolate, deserted, without anyone passing through? Hashem said, because they forsook my Torah. They left it. Right? So, such is the power of Torah. Then Rav Chanan continues and he says, the Yetzer tries to stop people from learning Torah even more than every other mitzvah. Then he quotes a big chiddush in the name of the Chafetz Chaim. He says, Shamati, I heard from the holy mouth of Rabbeinu Baal Chafetz Chaim Shlita. And he quotes the line in Yiddish and then they translate it in Hebrew. And basically the line is that the Yetzer Hara doesn't care if a person fasts or cries. Person fasts, cries, and davens the entire day, as long as a person isn't learning Torah. Powerful line. You think about now, amazing all the minyanim that are happening now, all the shuls, the minyan factor every 15 minutes, but look at the bittul Torah. It's well known that Avram is the pillar. He represents Chesed. Chesed la'Avram. Yitzchak, he's Avodah. Tefillah, Korbanos. Come back to that. Yaakov represents Torah. Yaakov Ishtam Yoshev Ohalim. So therefore, this angel of Esav said, the Torah I have to get. Because if Klal Yisrael, if the Yidden, if the future generations won't have Torah, there's no hope for them, there's no chance for them. That's why the angel specifically went after Yaakov. This is a quintessential, which by the way he has 5-page piece over here. This is part of it in the Kobeitz Ma'amarim, Ma'isa Avos Simen Labanim, which means the actions of the Avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, are symbolic of what will occur in the future to all of Klal Yisrael. So therefore, this Malach of Esav tried stopping the Torah, which is represented by Yaakov. After this angel saw that he was unsuccessful in his attempt to prevent people who are learning Torah full-time, the Yisachars, so he went after the Zvulans, the people who are supporting Torah. That's why he hit Yaakov by the Gid Hanash area, by the thigh. Because the thigh, the legs symbolize what causes us to walk and stand up, the supporters of Torah. Because this angel realized, Imen Kamach Ein Torah, Mishnah, third parak Avos. If there's no food, if they don't have parnasa, if they can't support Torah, so then they're not going to be able to learn Torah, which we see now is a big nisaya nowadays. People are supporting all sorts of endeavors. But Torah, a lot of times, is harder to collect for. People aren't as interested. Because of this event, unfortunately. That's what this is. Similarly, Baron Cutler says a similar idea in the Mishnah Reb Aaron, page Kuf Sadi Vav. Says this idea, whatever's going to happen to Avos will happen to the children in the future. Yaakov symbolizes Torah. Titin emes liYaakov, Yaakov ishtam Yoshev Ohalim. He said in the 10th Torah-based Medrash. So therefore, with this war over here, The Sarah Shalaisiv Tamid Lakar Torah, he's trying to uproot the Torah. Chazal say in the beginning of Pirkei Avos, Shosha Dvar Olam Omed, the world stands on three things. Torah Avoda and Gimlus Chasadim. Torah corresponds to Yaakov. Avoda is Yitzchak, because he was Nekad, Akedis Yitzchak. He is the quintessential example of Avoda, Korbanos Tila, because he himself was a Korban on the Mizbeach by Akedis Yitzchak. Gimlus Chasadim, that's Avram, Chesed LaAvram. However, the war with this Malach was just with Yaakov, because Torah is the Yesod HaKol, is the foundation of everything. Godol Talmud Torah maybe Lidei Ma'aser, the Gemara in Kedushin Daf Mem says, massive elaboration we could have on this in and of itself, just this one line. Learning Torah is so great because it brings to action. Ve'ena Ma'aser maybe Lidei Talmud. Shulchan Aruch Harav says in his Kuntrus and Talmud Torah, but the actions don't bring to learning. Only learning really changes a person, both in his physical way and in his mental way, how he thinks, how he views the entire world, how he acts towards everyone. So the Milchama with Yaakov, he tried to do whatever he could, was unsuccessful. So he says, he quotes the Gemara in Chulin that he appeared as a Talmud Chacham to Yaakov, and so too now we have a lot of people, they might appear that they look a certain way, but they're really fakes. That's what he says. Then he continues and he says that this Milchama with the Malach, at the end, this angel agreed that Yaakov was deserving of the brachos. He saw that he was unsuccessful in his attempt to get him to stop. So this is how a Talmud Chacham has to be as well. He has to overlook all the physical things, all the false things that are out there, and have Mesiras Nefesh to learn Torah. Basically what he says. Beautiful idea over here. That's the way to strike back, to protect ourselves. So that's why we're safe nowadays. In the Sefer Pshuta Shal Mikra, which I was told by someone actually got chayrim from people in Lakewood, because it's not so simple. They're taking Mefarshim and then they're just picking what they think is the correct explanation of the Torah. Apparently the Oz V'Hadar, someone just told me Safa Brua came out with a similar type of chumash where they tried just explaining the Pashup Shad of the Psukim, which many times are very cryptic, such as last week's Parsha, the Dudaim, the spots with the sheep. This episode, there's a lot of very cryptic episodes. Dina, a lot of cryptic episodes in chumash, how to learn it properly. But they give a very brief summary of quoting this Bereishis Rabbah, which we just learned more in depth through. And they explain after that this was not really a physical war. This was primarily Riv Ruchni ve'aloe haniskov medaisenu. This was primarily a spiritual war and something which is exalted and really above our intellectual comprehension in this world. We're trying to understand it even when we learn about it, but it just gets even more cryptic sometimes. The Malach, they explain, try to weaken. Tried to weaken Yaakov so that he wouldn't be able to stand against Esav. But at the end, when the Malach was unable, he was unsuccessful, he agreed that Yaakov deserved the brachos, deserves them. So this is the shoyesh v'hasiba lahachniya shel Esav l'basov. This is why Esav, he lowered himself after and agreed to Yaakov. He accepted it. He accepted it. That's what he wants to say. I'd like to quote just one few other closing ideas on this.
What did he accept?
He accepted that Yaakov, Esav accepted Yaakov's presence, and he didn't try to wage war at him after, and he accepted the fact that the brachos were his because he was able to withstand the Esav's angel. By the way, that Midrash Rabbah also, if you look at it inside, explains that basically mashal, that if you could withstand a lion, then you could withstand a dog. If you're able to, right? So that's basically what happened here. The angel of Esav is considered the lion, so to say. Angel, high level. There's a story over here that Rabbi Galinsky says there was a certain wealthy individual who visited Sanz to ask the Sanzer Rebbe for a bracha. So the Rebbe said, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Lemberg." He said, "Tell me, there was someone, a teacher in your town, a Malamed, a Rebbe. Did he find money for his daughter's dowry?" The wealthy individual didn't understand what the Rebbe was talking about. So the Rebbe explains, about a month ago, this teacher, this Malamed from Lemberg, Reb Zelig, he came to me. He said his daughter was getting married, but he didn't have the money for the dowry for the other side. So the shidduch was going to end. They were threatening to break it up. He said, I did what I could, the Rebbe said, and I gave him a letter of recommendation. Do you know if the problem was resolved? So the wealthy individual said, how should I know? He said, I know the Malamed, he's well liked, but I didn't know that he has a daughter, she's engaged, or there's a dowry over here that he can't pay. Now that I think about it, someone came asking me to give me some funds, but I don't know if the problem was resolved. So the Rebbe said, I don't understand. I'm here, I'm in Sanz, and I know about it. You're from Lemberg and you don't know about it? What's going on over here? So the Rebbe said, let me. So he said to the Rebbe, he said, let me tell the Rebbe something. I'm busy working all day. I'm trying to make a parnasa. When I have a few free minutes, when I have some time, I go to the base medrash to learn. I also have to think about my olam haba, right? I don't have to snoop in other people's business over here. So he thought, oh wow, the Rebbe's gonna really value that I'm utilizing my time and I don't waste anything. So the Rebbe said, oh wow, very good. Yes, that's how a Jew should behave. Whenever he has a free minute, learn. So the wealthy individual was also very happy. So the Rebbe said, in that case, you must be a learned man. Let me ask you a question on Rashi, on this week's parsha. So the wealthy individual, he said, he might know how to learn, but he never thought that he knew something that the Rebbe didn't. So the Rebbe said, no, Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelik Olam. Everyone has a portion in Torah. Listen carefully. Just a simple question on Rashi. Whole episode with the wrestling, and Rashi says, from the Midrash, it's really a question on the Midrash. Rashi says, he quotes the Midrash that we just learned, that this was an angel of Esav. But there's another pasuk. Pasuk says, V'yimsa Ehu ish v'hine toya basada. Says in Perek Lamed Zayin, Pasuk Tezvav. A man found him and he was straying in the field. This is by Yosef HaTzadik. And Rashi over there quotes, probably a Medrash, you have to look that up. He says that the ish that the pasuk is referring to was the angel of Gavriel, a good angel. The Rebbe said, how could this be? In our pasuk over here, it says ish. And we're saying, Rashi, the Medrash is saying that it's referring to an angel of Esav. Whereas by Yosef, it says ish, and we're saying it's a good angel. How could it be? How could it be? It's the same ish. Good question, no? So the Rebbe,
Yes.
the Rebbe answered, he says, no. Yosef was wandering, he was lost. Suddenly he meets a man who offers to help. V'yishalu ha'ish leimor matavake. She said, what are you looking for? How can I help you? He turned to Yosef on his own initiative and he said how he could help. That's the sign he was a holy angel. The angel of Esav, he was sent to wrestle with Yaakov. He carried out his mission. Yaakov said, bless me. He said, sorry, gotta run. Time for dawn. And like Chazal explained, time for me to sing Shira. He was too busy with the Shira that then there was no doubt, if he couldn't help someone else, that he was an angel of destruction. Someone who only thinks about his spiritual growth, explains the Rebbe, explains, Rabbi Yaakov Galinsky quotes this, sounds the Rebbe, someone who only thinks about his own spiritual growth at the expense of another Jew's welfare, who can't find the moment to help his friend, he's just like an angel of Esav. On Yom Kippur, we're like angels. We clothe ourselves in white. We eat, we drink, we stand and we daven. We say Baruch Shem Kivul Malchus Olam Va'ed out loud. Now look at a Jew. He's wearing a white kittel. He's wrapped in his towels. He's trying to get to his seat. He's making his way. He's stepping on people. He's elbowing their feet. He's pushing his way through. After all, he says, very important. He finally finds his seat and then he starts crying and very loud. He's disturbing other people. He says, well, the gates of tears are never locked. He's shouting out loud because a person's cries, they're good, whether before the decree or after. But his cries are in shouting, they're distracting everyone else in the shul, they're disrupting their davening. Rav Yisrael Salanter Zatzal said about such a person, he's an angel, no doubt, but he's an angel of destruction. Also, someone when putting on the talus of sitters, they hit the person in back of him. Same exact idea. That's one piece that Rabbi Galinsky has. Another piece that he has is all of these different ways that this angel of Esav appeared. All these different ways. What's the idea? The idea is that the Yetzer Hara tries every single mean whatsoever. Sometimes he appears one way. Another time he's always changing his disguise. The Gemara in Sukkah on Nun Beis says that the Satan has 7 different names because the name of something reflects its essence. The Yetzer Hara is always trying to change, trying to get us. Gemara explains that the Yetzer Hara resembles a fly that lives between two chambers of the heart. Gemara in Brachos Samach Aleph. That's the idea. The Yetzer was always trying to change himself, trying to get him to sin or another. Mesil Sasharim writes in the beginning, we get tested in many different ways. Wealth is a test as well as poverty. They're both tests. We find that Lot followed Avram Avinu. He left the land where he was born. He went to Egypt with him when there was a famine. He withstood the test of poverty perfectly. Avram returned from Egypt. He had a tremendous amount of wealth, silver, gold. Lot also had some of that wealth. Suddenly, the shepherds, they started fighting, and Lot removed himself from Avram's presence, and he went to Stone, and he said, Rashi Bereshis, look it up, Yud Gimel Yud Aleph, I don't care about Avram, or I don't care about his God. Lot withstood the challenge of poverty, but the challenge, the test of wealth, he failed. He passed the test of poverty, but failed the test of wealth. Sometimes the opposite is true. Someone could be very wealthy. Rav Yoel Kluf Zatzal, he was the head of the Haifa Beis Din. He told Rabbi Galinsky that in the city of Minster was a millionaire by the name of Rav Baruch Zeldowitz, who donated a fortune for tzedakah. He supported widows, orphans, married off poor brides, and he spared many people from literal starvation. He was also one of the biggest supporters of Torah. What happened? Then the tide turned. He lost all of his money. He barely had food to put on his table. He went to Chaim Brisker and he said, Shlomo Melech says, Noitin l'rachsh ein machzor mishlei kafches chav zayin. Someone who's going to give to the poor, he's not going to be lacking anything. They also had a mushroom Yerushalayim Gemara in Ksuba Samach Vav. Melech Mamon Chesed, someone who salts his money is Chesed. Just like salt preserves food so that it doesn't spoil, so too Chesed and tzedakah, kindness, charity. They're preservatives for money. They keep a person from learning it. Furthermore, the Rambam says that a person will never become impoverished from giving tzedakah. In the beginning of Hilchot Matanas Aniyim, Parak Aleph, also the Torah, beginning of Hilchot tzedakah in Yordei Reish Mem Ches. Chazal say that someone who shares 1% of his wealth and gives tzedakah won't have any signs of poverty. He said, if that's true, how did I lose my money by giving so much tzedakah? Rav Chaim said, "Listen carefully. My father was my father when my father the Beis Halevi was appointed Rav of Brisk. He participated in a funeral in the city. When he went through the cemetery, he saw that the gravestone said, Ka pa pasaliani v'adel shochem li'evon, that we say in Ishish Chayil. She spreads out her hand to the poor and she stretches her hand out to the needy. Pasuk then to Mishlei. Normally we see this pasuk on a woman's grave, not a man. Why was it on a man's grave? He looked up the man's history and he said he was a very wealthy individual who gave generously. He spent, in fact, all of his wealth on charity until he had nothing left. He couldn't withstand what people kept asking him for. When the money was gone, he gave away his last dish, ad kedei kach, his seder plate, and all he had left was there was nothing. There was nothing except for one spoon. Two poor people came asking him for tzedakah. His heart went out to them. He didn't have anything to give, and then he found the silver spoon. He broke it in half. He gave the handle to one of them and the actual round part of the spoon to the other part. When he died, they put this pasuk on his tombstone because they were hinting at the last chesed that he did. Kapa pasalani, kaf is referring to the palm. That's the spoony part that he gave. Parsalani, he spread it out to the poor person. V'yadeha, and the yad in Hilchos Tumah could also mean the handle. The handle he gave shochel me'avyon. He also gave to the poor person. So now the wealthy man said to Rav Chaim, I understand. Since I gave all my money on tzedakah, I shouldn't have given away more than 1/5. I gave too much, more than 20%. Rav Chaim said, that's not my point. The world is a world of challenges. That man, he was tested with the challenge of wealth and he prevailed. So now he was given the challenge of poverty to see how he would handle it. Lot was tested with the test of poverty, overcame it. Then he was given wealth and he failed. They experience opposite. First they have wealth, those wealthy individuals, then they had poverty. The common denominator is that the challenges are constantly changing. The ways that we're tested, constantly changing. The Mishnah Novel says, Parak Beis, don't believe in yourself that you're on the right path until the day you die. Rashi over there quotes the Gemara Brachos Chav test that Yochanan was a Kohen Gadol. He served as a Kohen Gadol for 80 years, and at the end, he went off the derech. He became a Stuki. He went off because the challenges are constantly changing. Every single day, a person's Yetzer Hara is growing in strength. The Gemara into the Kedushin Daf Lamed. Withstanding previous tests are not a guarantee that the person will withstand the next one. And then Bekitzer, in his last piece on this, in very, very short, he says that why did the angel specifically have to sing Shira now? Because this is when his mission was complete. His mission was done based it on an idea of the Zohar that the Yetzer Hara really doesn't want to get a person to sin. He's just a messenger of Hashem, and he's brought there to test a person to see if he will sin. Once the Esav's angel saw that Yaakov withstood the test, he was able to sing because he fulfilled his mission. That's why he went to sing Shira. That's basically what he says. So I think that that will help us understand this cryptic passage a little bit better. And it was something that I personally enjoyed looking into more. So thank you for enabling me to do that. So, because I wouldn't have done it on my own had not been to prepare for this. So anyways,
Sure.
yeah. Okay. Everyone should have a wonderful day.
Shkaya, you too. Thanks.
All right. Mitzvah Shem tomorrow. We'll continue. Bruchim Teo. Have a wonderful day.